do a real quick update. Good evening. So this is a breaking weather update from the National Hurricane Center. So at 6 o'clock, the hurricane hunters out there now sampling the hurricane and found winds over 75 miles an hour, and the hurricane pressure is down in 976, I believe, 980 millibars, and it's continuing to fall. So the pressure's falling, and we now officially have a hurricane. Nicole, and the winds continue to strengthen, and the satellite looks really, really good, and so does radar. Let's go to that. So there's a couple interesting things going on with the radar. So we're one of the things that we got to watch here is that obviously the hurricane is the big eye right in this area. It's just east of Freeport right now, still moving northwest. And tonight, the hurricane is kind of, I'm going to call it front loaded, looking at the different radars. So the heaviest precip obviously is this eastern extent here. It's kind of really heavy front loaded. And then we got this inner core eye wall back here. But all this area right in here is 50 to 60, probably gusts to 70 coming in. And so the stronger winds are approaching the coast now within the next 30 minutes, all the way from literally just east of Daytona, where they continue to get hammered with large battering waves. We've got a lot of bad situations going on up at Daytona in this area from the big waves today and damage up there. But as these heavier bands are moving on shore now, all the way from Titusville, all the way down to just east of Port St. Lucie here, all the way down to West Palm, as these bands continue to move on shore, we're going to start getting winds 50 sustained, going to 60 with heavy torrential rain, and the winds are going to increase. And also we're going to start having damaging winds will increase with trees, power lines type situation, especially when we get in this these bigger bands right here. Right, we're gonna start getting damaging winds coming on shore here in the next hour and a half. By 7:30, 7 through about 1 a.m. And the current track right now in the Hurricane Center, they're expecting the center to come up this way and basically kind of be up in this area just offshore at about 1 a.m. So anyway, it's front side loaded on this front side. So expect storm surge will increase. Large battering waves will increase. We've got high tide, I believe it's 12:30 in the Fort Pierce area. And so as we get high tide, the eye's approaching, the storm surge is approaching, and of course we're going to have large battering waves we've had all day. And these waves, this storm surge, these waves will just get larger and larger, and the water's going to continue to rise all on the coast. We've got many areas of road, low-lying areas now are going underwater. And so they're got streets closing up and down the coast with the water. So these large battering waves are going to continue to move on shore. And now we're going to have the damaging winds will be coming on shore over the next couple hours, especially we get that 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. time frame. And again, we're getting these core winds, which actually the very strongest core winds are technically back in here, right? That's where we have 75 plus, maybe even gusts to 85 as this thing will continue to deepen and move northwest. So the track right now is kind of just in this general area here, and we'll see how it tracks over the next 4 or 5 hours. Watching the radar from both Melbourne and also Miami, and also the terminal Doppler radar from about at back south here at West Palm and down at Fort Myer and Fort Lauderdale, right? So you can look at the terminal radar and just go to extended range, and we'll look at the long range out of Fort Lauderdale. And again, Fort Lauderdale sees the eye. We can loop it here, and the eye's on the eastern side of the Freeport there, and we'll just loop it and you can watch the eye. So the front side eye it's about a 25 mile diameter eye right now, and it's continuing to move to the west, and sometimes it makes a jog west southwest and sometimes west northwest, but the general motion is kind of to the west at about 15. So we're about 6 hours, maybe 7 hours max from landfall. And if anything, this thing might be just a little bit ahead of schedule right now. But as you see, these big heavy bands are now moving on shore. So start expecting things to rapidly deteriorate as these heavy rain bands coming on shore. They're moving southwestward, and they're rocketing. I mean, they're flying. Let's see how fast these things are moving. 46 knots, about 55, 54 miles an hour to the southwest. So these things are moving as fast as the cars down the interstate. They're flying by, right? So you can have blinding rain, heavy rain, and then as these palm trees will bend and get near the power lines and arc, you'll have some arcing going on and probably some transformers going up and down the coast as these higher belted winds move on shore. So just real quick, Hurricane Nicole now, Cat 1, and it'll continue to intensify, not fast, but slowly. So it should end up with a solid Cat 1 by 1 o'clock in the morning as it moves toward the southeast coast of Florida here. That's it for right now, and we'll give you more updates a little bit later. We're in a safe place, and we'll be streaming live once we get these higher winds on shore and damage starts occurring. We'll bring it to you live. Okay, that's it. Everybody stay safe, and thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it.